To ensure the welfare of your prehistoric animals and attract even more guests to your park, 2 additional enclosure types will be available to house the new avian and marine species, the Aviary and Lagoon enclosures. The aviaries offer modular construction, allowing you to craft dynamic enclosures, viewing galleries, and hatcheries, making these giant domes the perfect place to safely secure and view your flying reptiles. Lagoons are new, impressive, modular aquatic habitats. They can include a marine hatchery and a viewing gallery, which offers a spectacular experience for your guests during feeding time. These additional enclosures and animals will offer your parks new opportunities and new challenges.
Hello everybody, I am Scuttles and welcome back to some more Jurassic World Evolution 2 news. Today I'm here to talk to you about enclosures. That's right, Frontier has just released a new park management guide about enclosures, and I'm here to tell you all there is to know about the enclosures. And now you might have noticed that lately Frontier's actually been holding back new information, probably with the idea in mind to save some of the new content for whenever the game is actually released, so that there's some more exciting stuff to find whenever that does happen. But we actually get to see some exciting stuff today, so let's take a look. So starting off, we get a pretty traditional, nice look over the park, just kind of seeing all 3 of the different types of enclosures. We can see that there's a regular exhibit, an aviary, as well as one of the lagoon exhibits which will house our aquatic creatures. Now moving on a little bit further is where things start to get interesting. In this overhead shot here, we get to see 2 aquatic creatures swimming through the aquatic lagoon, and what's interesting is that they do not look to be mosasaurs. If you specifically focus on this creature's tail, then you can see that it actually has a specific triangular sort of shape to it that pokes up towards the sky at the very end of it. If we take a look at the mosasaur tail, then we can see that the mosasaur tail is lacking this triangular shape. But what we do know has this triangular shape is what the community believes to be the Tylosaurus. Now Frontier doesn't come out and say that this is the Tylosaurus, but there is a pretty good chance that what we're looking at here is another Tylosaurus, or at the very least, another creature that looks very similar to what we believe will be the Tylosaurus. Alright, now here's where things get a bit exciting. In this next shot here, we get to see a nice and up-close look at this new creature, and originally I thought this was actually something totally different until I went back and watched it again later on, and I realized that it does still have that same triangular tail. You can just catch a brief little glimpse of it right at the very beginning of this clip. If we pause it like right away, then we can see that there is still that big Dorito triangular-like tail right there, which leads me to believe that this is actually the same creature. And if I am wrong about this and you guys happen to know what this creature is because you're little paleontological geniuses out there, then please be sure to leave it in a comment below. And I'll go ahead and pin you down below so that everybody else that comes to this video after the fact that we've discussed it can know exactly what this creature is. Moving on just a little bit further, we get to see another shot of the aviary, as well as the regular enclosure where the Allosaurus is running about, and then the lagoons there in the background, but you don't really see anything in it this time. This next frame here gives us another look at the aviaries being modular in their building style, but this is all old information. We've known that these aviaries as well as the lagoons would be modular in the way that they're built for a decent chunk of time now, so nothing new here, moving on. A beautiful first look at our guests. Now this scene right here is something that Frontier only addressed through, like, texting out messages to the community rather than showcasing it in any of their YouTube videos. Now that's that different species of flying reptiles will actually be able to co-inhabit and exhibit together. So as you can see here, we have the Pteranodon and the Dimorphodon both living in the same enclosure. I imagine that these 2 creatures will get along just fine, seeing as they did that in Jurassic World, the film. But who knows, maybe they actually don't get along, and that's why the Dimorphodon broke out at the end of this trailer. If you didn't notice that the first time we played the video, then sorry for the spoilers, but yeah, the Dimorphodon's about to break out here in a minute. Also in this frame, we get a look at this pretty snazzy log covered in like some vines and flowers, so just thought I'd point that out because it looks all crazy, but I don't think that's going to be anything game-breaking right there. Now, like a fine soup, the plot thickens even more. If we take a look way off into the distance and we focus solely on this big lagoon in the background, then we can just ever so faintly see a creature swimming just below the surface of the lagoon. It's a little bit blurry, it's a little bit hard to see things, but nonetheless you can see an outline of the creature. And if we take just a little bit of a closer look here, then we can actually see the back comes along nice and flat, and then just where it goes to bend, there's a little tiny hump there, just like that, and then it goes back down. There's a very small little dorsal fin or just some sort of fin on the back of the creature. Whereas if we take another look at the Tylosaurus, then we can see that this little back ridge does not exist on the creature. And now this is actually something that's easier to see when the video is playing rather than when you're just looking at a single frame of it. But if you go back and watch the video again, then you can actually go back and see that the appearance of a fin does look actually pretty promising if you take another look at the back of this creature. Even if we go and take a look at the image of when the Tylosaurus was first revealed, we can get a really nice up-close shot of the Tylosaurus' side profile, and nowhere along the back of these creatures does it have any little fin whatsoever. It's perfectly smooth and flat all the way down to the base of its tail. No little ridge at all, which does lead me to believe that this is a totally different creature. But what this creature could be, I have no idea. I really do not. I guess if I just absolutely had to throw out a guess, if my life depended on it, then I could say perhaps Basilosaurus? I don't know. I really don't know. But that's just the only thing I can think of that has a teeny tiny little fin on the back of it. And I came to this guess just because that's kind of what whales look like, and Basilosaurus is like the very, very early version of a whale. If you've ever seen any sort of nature documentary and you see the whales just swimming along, then this is actually what they look like right below the surface of the water. They just have this tiny little ridge along their backs, right where they kind of fold in half between the front half of them and the back half of them where their tail is. But that's enough of staring at one image, so let's keep moving. Just one more time, we get a quick little glimpse of some more aquatic creatures. It looks to be, once again, 2 shots of the Tylosaurus here, and then the Mosasaurus, of course, making an appearance, because how could you not include the Mosasaurus in a park management guide about the lagoon? Another gorgeous shot of the Mosasaurus going up to eat a poor great white shark. And then in a similar fashion, we get to see the Tylosaurus once again, just kind of swimming in circles in its lagoon. Nothing too crazy going on right here. And then last but not least, we actually get to see that this aviary here has had a breakout just before 2 Pteranodons go flying off into the sunset. And that's everything that the video actually has to tell us, so let's move on over to the forums page. Oh baby, do we have some good information here. The return of one of my favorite features from Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Take a look at this right here. Smaller theropods like the Dilophosaurus and Velociraptor will usually try to climb non-electrified fences in order to escape. That's right folks, back in the good old days of Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, if your power went out, then the Velociraptors could actually run over to a fence, test it to see if it was electrified, and if it wasn't, then they could proceed to jump onto the cables of the fence and actually climb out over the top of it. And it looks like that feature is going to be making a return to Evolution. Now I'm not sure if it's specifically for non-electrified fences, or if it does also include electrified fences whenever the power goes out, but one way or another, Velociraptors and other small little creatures like that, such as the Dilophosaurus, will be able to climb our fences, and that is something I am extremely happy to see. Also worth noting is that dinosaurs in this new game will only be able to break out of enclosure if their security rating is higher than the fence's recommended security rating. And now that's actually nothing new, Frontiers actually come out and confirms that before, but what I did want to point out here is that whenever your dinosaurs try and break out of an enclosure, they will actually injure themselves in the process, so they can't just go headbutting a concrete wall over and over and over and not take any consequences for it. So it says that we're actually going to want to dispatch some of our MVUs to provide medical attention for the creatures that have just tried to break out. Which is interesting. I kind of like that little touch. And I'm assuming / hoping that that means that the higher the rating of the fence, the more injury that it'll be. So like if they're going after like a really strong fence, then sure they'll get injured in the process, but if they're going after just like a light cable fence or something like that, then the creature won't even get injured at all and it'll just plow right through it and go on without its day. Because I do think that would make sense if like the different levels of fences actually cause different levels of impact to the creature, but maybe that's just me. Oh, and moving down just a little bit further, we do get to confirm that even if the fences are electrified, then our smaller creatures such as the Velociraptor and the Dilophosaurus can actually try to climb it if the fence loses power. So we were kind of theorizing that just a couple seconds ago, but now it's fully confirmed right there in text. If I had just read a little bit further ahead, then I would have known that. Now here's something interesting that I didn't actually expect. If we come down to this paragraph right here below this big aviary, then we can see that the guided tours can actually pass through our aviaries now. We knew that they'd be able to go into our enclosures as well as outside of our enclosures with new like path crossing items and everything like that. But what I didn't expect is that we can actually drive them into the aviaries now. So I guess it'll work sort of like going into any other enclosure where there's just a big gate on the side, but now we can drive into the aviary? I'm not really sure what that would look like on the side of it, but I guess it's not too hard to imagine. I just didn't expect this to be a feature, but like, I'm not complaining, that's a pretty cool feature. I guess now we can go and drive through our giant modular aviaries and get a nice up-close look at our Pteranodons from the safety and comfort of a cool park vehicle. Now that's cool and all, of course, but if we can drive our guided vehicle tours into the lagoons, then I'll be impressed, okay, Frontier? No, they heard our prayers. Your lagoons can't be entered by guided tours, but monorails can pass over for increased dinosaur visibility. Okay, so that's cool at least. We can cross them over just like how the monorail crosses over the Mosasaur Lagoon in the original Jurassic World film. That'll be cool if we want to recreate our Jurassic World films. Again, this is something that we already knew based off previous screenshots, but I'll still point it out for those of you who aren't aware of that yet. Now this isn't something I was really anticipating being in the game, but it does confirm it here for any of you guys that possibly were anticipating this to be a thing. But it says that hungry marine reptiles aren't going to be able to escape their lagoons. They will just instead get hungry and die if you leave them without food for too long. So yeah, we're not going to have a mosasaur flopping down Main Street looking to gobble up some people. Sorry to break your hearts, I know, but it just looks like it's going to be stuck there in your little mosasaur lagoon, and possibly sinking to the bottom of your lagoon, if by any chance you forget to go and feed your pet mosasaurs. And that is everything that this new species field guide and forum post has to offer. I hope you learned something new. I felt like we actually got quite a bit of new information today, which I'm very excited about. So I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions down below on what you think of this new park management guide about the enclosures. I was pleasantly surprised today. I thought we were going to get just some standard old information that we've kind of already known, like, hey, the Tylosaurus is coming to the game, but no, we actually got a pretty good surprise today. So I'm very happy with that, and I hope you guys are as well. But until next time, I'll see you later. Bye bye.